Hey everyone, it's Ileana Capian, and welcome to IC Connections. I'm a former TV news journalist and lifestyle host looking to continue making connections with people in everyday life. And this podcast is my way of doing just that. Now, today's episode is a little bit different because it's just you and me. So let's get cozy and let's get connected.
This is the best.
Simply the best.
Something like that. Ileana Capian. That's me, and I'm your host.
In 3, 2.
So for those of you who have been listening to IC Connections, I started it as a solo podcast episode. It was just me and the mic and the camera. And since we are on episode 10, I thought it was appropriate to run it back one more time and do another solo episode. So here we are. As I stated in that episode, I love being on the other side of the questions, right? I like asking the questions and getting to connect with others conversationally. But I know it's important for me to open up and be honest with listeners as well. So this is my way of being vulnerable and sharing a little bit more about myself. What you may not know is that this podcast was started because of one giant plot twist that I never saw coming for myself. By now, you know that I was laid off due to budget cuts at the end of May. But getting laid off wasn't something that I had on my 2024 bingo card. Like, it just wasn't there for me. And even though I can joke about it now, it shook me in ways that I'm still trying to unpack. It forced me to slow down, to look at my life, to reevaluate who I am without a job title attached to my name for the first time in 16 years. And honestly, I've had better days. I've had better years, but I'm figuring it out one day at a time. But also, being laid off is the exact reason I was able to start this podcast. For the first time in my career, I have the time to be able to think about what I want to do, to be able to do what I love to do, to be able to do it in a way that I want to do it. It's been a bit of a push and pull trying to figure out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to financially contribute to my family. And while I'm still figuring that out, we're here and I'm on this mic talking to you guys. So in a way, it's all working out. And through all of this, motherhood, big emotions, identity shifts, and rebuilding my confidence, I kept coming back to one thing: human connections. It's something that I've always been super aware of in all of my work, but even more so now. Everyone is going through something in their life. Not just me, not just you, but everyone, which I don't know if people understand that. So I'll say it one more time. Everyone is going through something in their life, not just me. And that is what connects us all. Human connection is what I chased in journalism. It's what I chase on this podcast. And honestly, it's what's been holding me together. Without my village of people, my husband, friends, family, and neighbors, I don't know where I'd be right now. I used to tell people in journalism, the best part about getting to tell someone's story is that it connects to so many others on the other side of the screen. So every food drive could be the difference between food on the table for a family or a family going to sleep on an empty stomach. A story of a parent's loss and grief could connect with another mom watching the TV and connect with them about losing their own child. I reported on everything from drug overdoses to maternal mortality rates and made each story what I could, but the one thing that connected us all was the human connection and the empathy found between each story. So again, connecting that one family to another family, and now they've created an entire community that's helping one another. This stuck with me. So I chose to always be honest with people in my life. When it came to having a hard time, especially now, when I lost my job, I wanted to be honest and open. And for the first time in a very long time, I chose to take off the happy-go-lucky mask that I'm used to wearing and always putting up for everybody. And I allowed the suck to suck. I allowed it to really, really suck. But out of that, I've met some amazing people and have created some great memories and opportunities. if you watch this podcast on YouTube or Spotify, then you'll notice that the studio I originally started the podcast in is very different from the studio that we're in now. About 5 episodes into the podcast, I started working with the buzz and have been able to continue my journalism career and telling entertainment stories and doing interviews and going out on red carpets and doing all of the fun things, which has really brought me back that love for journalism, that love for entertainment, and brought me a joy and spark in my life that wasn't there or that I wasn't fully fulfilled with, right? I was trying to balance being a mom, working, doing the corporate life thing, also trying to figure out like, what do I do? Because I went to school for journalism, and yes, while those skills are very transferable to other communications, based jobs, it's like, that's what I like to do. When that comes naturally to you, it's like, how do I fit a square into a circle, right? Or how do I fit that's it. How do I fit a square into a circle? And so trying to play that balancing act, I feel like being able to do things like this has kind of brought back that joy and love for me. I've also made amazing memories with my son and neighbors. And as simple as that sounds, it's like, why is that something that you're so grateful for? Well, because before, when I was working the typical 9-to-5 job, it wasn't a 9-to-5 job. Let's be so for real right now. That job was 9 to 6. Then it turned into, I'm going to log in a little bit early before I take him to school. And then I'll take him to school, come back and work until I pick him up from school. And then when I'm home from picking him up from school, then I'm going to work some more. So it quickly turned into, all right, I'm going to start work at 7 and I'm going to get off at, whatever time I finish up my job or whatever time I finish up this project. And so I was working from like 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And granted, I was taking, an hour here and an hour there to go pick up Jevin from school or make dinner or get him bathed. But I wasn't fully committing myself to him as mom. I wasn't fully committing myself to work aside from the hours where I was like fully committed to work and didn't have him at home. But like, that wasn't fair to him as a little boy, and it wasn't fair to me as a mom or to my company as an employee. So, being able to be forced into the situation where I have to figure it out and where I get to embrace and enjoy these quality moments is huge to me. Being able to go to the park until 7 p.m. and then come home and figure out what I'm going to make for dinner and be like, oh my God, what am I going to make for dinner? I've got 30 minutes before bedtime. Like, now what do I do? That's something that I like. I love getting that time because I didn't have it before. And spending time with family in town, right? Like really being able to lean into being a more family-oriented adult and the woman that I've like always wanted to be. I grew up in a very family-oriented family, and Jesus, how many times have I said family at this point? But I grew up in a very family-oriented family where my mom and dad were, they worked, but they also were home every night to make dinner, to help with homework, to do whatever it was that needed to be done. And I knew that was always something that was really important to me. I didn't realize that they were making sacrifices on their own to be able to do that, right? Like the fact that they stayed at their jobs, sometimes I wonder, I'm like, did you guys stay at those jobs because it provided that stability? It provided the options or the opportunity to be able to be like, okay, when I'm done with work, I can actually go home and be with my family. I can be with my kids and I can focus on that. Because I feel like that's also been something that I've struggled with too, is like, if you get the high paying job, if you get the salary, then you're never really off the clock. And if you're not ever really off the clock, are you ever really a full-time parent? Are you giving your best self to your child, to your spouse, to the rest of your family, to your friends even? Like that was something I struggled with too, because I could never shut it off. I was always available, whether it be by phone, email, laptop, like it was fine. Everything, we're in a day and age where everything is so easily accessible. I can just take my laptop with me and like, it's okay, I'll work in the car. I'll take my phone and it's okay. Like I can respond to this little email in between dinner or whatever it might be. And then you realize like, you're not really connecting with the people right in front of you. And what is all of this for if you're not connecting with those that you love the most? So today, again, I chose to do this solo episode. I wanted to talk about the unexpected reset and what I've learned about connection so far and how motherhood and ambition are shaping who I am becoming. If you're in a season of transition, uncertainty, or rediscovery, I hope that this makes you feel just a little bit less alone. And I'll go into some questions in a little bit because why not answer questions, right? I've gotten some questions from listeners, and I think that's one way to really get to know who I am. As I said, I like to be on the other side of the question. So when I sat down to really produce this episode, I was like, what do I have to talk about? What's so interesting about me that will connect others to me? And the truth is, like, I know myself, right? So I'm like, I don't have any questions for myself, but others do, which is what I love. So I got those questions and I'm going to answer some of those. But I just want to like really drill into everybody that like IC Connections is about extending that hand, extending a listening ear, having a conversation with those that you may not expect to have a conversation with, listening to the long-winded stories because there are nuggets of gold in those stories, right? It's about leading with empathy and just having an open heart for everybody and learning to connect with people whether you agree with them or not, finding that like mutual connection and realizing that we're all more alike than we are different. And that is what IC Connections is all about. With that said and done, here are some questions that I received. So the questions span from like everything about work to like motherhood and the show. So here we go. What is one thing you had to unlearn from childhood as a wife and as a mother? And what is one thing that you learned that helps you? So one thing I had to unlearn from childhood was the quest for perfection. And I'm still trying to find this. So like, I don't even pretend to have this figured out. But like, for me, I always felt like I needed to be perfect. And it wasn't something that my parents placed on me. It wasn't something that my family placed on me. Like, I think I placed it on myself because I wanted to make people proud in everything that I did. So I remember like just always being like, oh, I need to look a certain way. My clothes need to look a certain way. My hair needs to be a certain way. This, that, or the other. My makeup, like, it's almost excessive to a point where it's like, I can't just do my makeup and it be like done. It needs to be done perfectly. My hair can't just be curled. It has to be curled without frizz and the part has to be perfect and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you get into this like rhythm of perfection, perfection, perfection. And you realize like, what am I chasing, right? Like I'm after perfection, and does perfection even exist? Who is this perfection? Like, who's this level of perfection that I'm trying to appease? Who gets to define what perfection is? So that's definitely something I've tried to unlearn, because as a kid, I think it was really easy to be like, I did this. Yay. Everybody tell me I'm doing a good job and that like you did great. But as an adult, it's like people don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. So like you're not going to get that constant reassurance that like everything is great and that you're doing an amazing job and that you've reached this level of perfection. And as a mom, it's like, man, perfection is out the window, okay? Like we are lucky if we're walking out the house with Jevin having 2 pairs of shoes on, socks, and pants and a shirt that match. Because some days I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to pick and choose my battles today, buddy. Like, you want to wear that shirt? That's a great way to self-express yourself. Go ahead and wear that shirt, and we're going to do the shoes, and we're going to be fine. Or, like, the fact that he's wearing Crocs. Like, I don't like Crocs. I think they're the ugliest shoes known to life. But, like, if he wants to wear his blue Crocs with yellow shorts, then so be it. The one thing I am picky about, though, is his hair. His hair has to be brushed, whether that be, like, in his mohawk that he asks for or just curly and brushed back. Like, I don't care. I need it to look like we put a little bit of effort into your hair because he has curly hair, and like, I'm not about to have you walking around with your dry, like with your hair being dry. I'm not gonna be that mom. So that's the only thing where I'm like, okay, we need to do your hair. But letting go of perfection has been one thing that I've definitely had to unlearn. And it's also something that helps because you're just like, let's just go with the flow. This is what we're gonna do, and this is what's gonna help us get through. Another question that I got is, what is your favorite piece of advice you've ever received? To just let it go. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And like my sister-in-law says it best, like, it's just not that deep. Like, I remind myself of that all the time. It's like, it's just not that deep. Like, just, it's fine. Just let it go. Let it roll off your back. Let it roll off your shoulders. It's not that big of a deal. And then as like a mom, the biggest piece of advice that I've learned is also like same thing. It's just like you do what you have to do. And so like that's been my motto. Is like we do what we have to do to get through, and that's the end of it. What's the weirdest gift you've ever received? The weirdest gift I've ever received was probably like, those gag gifts that you get for like Christmas and yeah, I mean, really, that's it. Like we used to do it a lot with my group of friends in high school was like the gag gifts that you get, and I got a vibrator, and that was a weird gift to get. If you could start a rumor about yourself, what would it be? So when I was in high school, I worked at a daycare, and I worked there for like 5.5 years. And I started a rumor about myself at that daycare amongst the kids. And it was that I was dating Justin Bieber. And everybody was on board. So my coworkers were on board. My supervisor was on board. And the reason I realized like it had gone too far was because I had one little girl that was like, oh yeah, Miss Ileana is dating Justin Bieber, and Justin Bieber's my brother. And the reason that I know that she's dating Justin Bieber is because she came over last night for their date. And I was like, yes! And in my mind, I was like, oh my God, what have I done? This little girl has completely bought into my story. But also, now I'm a part of her little lie and her rumor. Like, what am I doing to this generation? So, yeah, that's a rumor that I have already made up about myself. If I could make up a new rumor about myself, it would be that, like, I don't even know, like at this point, like, oh, she's the most successful journalist and has everything figured out, because maybe if I say that, others will believe it and be like, yeah, let's hire her. She's done all the great things. So I don't know, lame answer. All right. If you had the power to change one event in your life, what would it be? If I had the power to change one event in my life, it would probably be, I probably would have not dated somebody because like that was a mistake altogether, and that somebody was, I mean, like, I think it was a mistake, who knows what he thinks, but like, worst regret of my life. Like, I should not have dated him. It was bad news bears from the start, and I ended up losing a lot of friends during that time. I mean, we've like, fixed everything and like come back together after it. I just needed to get out of like his lock, but dating someone was probably like my worst mistake. And the one event that I would change about my life, because that was like a year of wasted time of just like being dumb and young and whatever. So yeah, I would change that. What's the most outrageous thing you've done for love or friendship? So again, along with, my regret being dating that person that shall not be named, would also be like the most outrageous thing would be, I guess, being okay with losing my friendships at that time. Like, that was psychotic behavior. I think back to myself and I'm like, girl, what were you thinking? Like, you lost some of your closest friends during that time. You were not speaking to these people. And aside from dating him, like, everything else in my life was going great. That would have been like an amazing time to really share with my friends and family. And I didn't, because it was such a controlling relationship where like I felt like I could not talk to these people. They also didn't like him. He didn't like them. So like I just tried to make everybody like be happy. And the way to keep everyone happy was to keep everybody separate and also like not talk to anybody. So that would be my biggest regret and the wildest thing that I've ever done for a relationship. What's the wildest thing she's done that no one knows about? I'm not a wild person. I haven't done anything wild. I'm innocent. I'm so innocent. What's one thing you would change about society if you could? If I could change anything about society, I would make it a more empathetic and understanding society. I think we're real quick to judge. We're real quick to like to each other and like attack each other. And it's just like, for what? What is the point? I feel like overall, my entire being has been like, why are you having that argument? Does it even matter? Like, if you're arguing with somebody, are you just going to harbor resentment? Are you just going to carry those like negative emotions? Because if you are, is it really beneficial to start this argument? Is it really beneficial to like have this fight? Probably not. So like, let's just all be more understanding and be like, okay, cool. He says that the sky is purple. I think that the sky is pink, but like, cool, bro, the sky's purple to you. Like, go for it. That's fine. Why can't I just be okay with that? It doesn't affect me. It doesn't bother me. It's not changing my life whatsoever. So if I could share that with society, I definitely would. What's the best relationship advice you've ever received? The best relationship I have ever received is to keep people out of your relationship. Just keep it to yourself. Nobody needs to know all the ins and outs of your relationship. They don't need to know every single argument, because unfortunately the thing is, like, human nature, then they feel like they are, what's the word for it? Like, they're invested in your relationship. And so if you're arguing with somebody and you're upset with them, and now they're upset with them, and now 2 minutes later, you're over the argument. They're not, because they're your friend or you're their family member. And it's like, well, you got to get over it because I'm with this person and I'm over it. So yeah, keep your relationship to yourself. Keep your struggles to yourself. That's not the same as like, don't go to people for advice. Like, I do think that, like, if you're struggling and you need advice, go and talk to your friends, talk to your family members, talk to whoever it is that helps you get through those things. But like, know who the appropriate people are to go to, because those are probably the ones that'll help you out the best and have your best like, I don't even know what the word is for it. Like, your best interest, Bobby. Yes. Your best interest in mind. Words are really hard. Words are so hard. What is the next question? If you won $10 million tomorrow, what would you spend it on? I would buy a house. I would pay for Jevin's education all the way through. I'd probably have 7 more kids. I would buy a house for my parents closer to me. I would probably just buy like a compound. I think that's what it is. Or like an entire neighborhood where I could like put people up, like be like, here's my aunt, here's my other aunt, here's my uncles, here's my brothers, my sister, here I am, here's like my in-laws, my grandparents, like everybody would just be here. My entire family would be here. And that would be great. And then, yeah, like I said, I just have like tons of babies. I love babies. I think they're great. Yes, what?
Because men and women say the same thing but different.
What?
Because in my mind, I would get a cool house and get a bunch of women pregnant.
Oh,
We said the same thing.
my God.
but
No, we
different.
didn't.
We did. We did it like, because I love kids too. So there's like, we said the same thing.
The same, but different. Back to the show. Who is your, if they asked, I'd drop everything celebrity? Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber is my, if they asked for Ileana, I would drop everything and go. But also, I caveat that with Justin Bieber from like 2012. Actually, like even high school Justin Bieber, like me and him, we were the same age in high school. So like Justin Bieber from like 2009 through 2020-ish? Nah, 20 feels really late. 2017-ish. Like that era of Justin Bieber, anytime. I'm there for you, JB. I got you. However, now I'd say she's not here anymore, but Selena would also be my like celebrity that I'd be like, yep, I'm going for it. I got it. I'd love to interview her, her family, like anybody close to her, because I don't know. She like, I think her story through, which is kind of interesting, like her story through the Selena movie starring J-Lo shaped like me and who I wanted to be as a woman. So like, it's, I don't know, it's interesting, but I think that would be my celebrity that I'd be like, drop everything and go. How do you feel motherhood and marriage has shaped you as a woman? Motherhood has changed me so much more than even becoming a wife. I think becoming a wife was like that step where I was like, okay, cool. Like we're doing real life things. We're getting older. We're getting married. Like I have to mature. I gotta learn how to cook or whatever. Like I have to be able to take care of myself. But at the same time, it was like, I don't know, like this isn't changing anything. Like we're still eating ramen. We're still just surviving. Like we're having fun. It was just our relationship was taking that next level. So becoming a wife didn't really change me, aside from the fact that I did take it more seriously and the fact that like we were each other's families at this point. So like priorities were like we were each other's priorities. Like we had to plan our schedules and our lives around each other. And so I took that very seriously. And also creating boundaries with people, because I was like, I can't be like doing everything for everyone and then also be able to do everything for myself and for him. Like, it's just not it. And he can't do that either. I can't expect that from him either. So creating harder boundaries with people is how that part changed me as a wife. But it also helped me because it was like not healthy how much of a people pleaser I was and how much I was doing for others at that time. Now, being a mom has changed me much more because I'm over everybody. I don't have time for your shit. I don't have time for my shit. So like, I definitely don't have time for you. So period. That's it. Like as a mom, nope, I don't have time for it. Like, I don't have time for the drama. I don't have time for the pettiness. I don't have time for the like, oh, this would be fun. Let's do it for the plot. No, I don't have time for it. Like, I've got time for my kid. I've got time for my family. I've got time for work, and that's it. So, yeah, don't come at me with your bullshit as a mom because I'm not dealing with it. What's the hardest part about being in entertainment as a woman, and what advice would you give to anyone who is wanting a similar career to yours? Advice for anyone wanting a similar career as mine is like, I have no idea. Everybody's path's so different that like, do whatever works for you, honestly. I'd say for myself in college, I'd be like, take more classes, do more than just a major, take a minor in like public relations, take a minor in honestly something completely different than your major. I would have told myself to take a minor in like health or something, because then you can also go into a different side of journalism and be like, oh, I'm a health reporter, specifically, reporting on medical news, or I'm a poli-sci major, so I'm only doing politics, like, and you can become a subject matter expert. But I would just say like everybody's paths are so different. What worked for me might not work for you, but what worked for me was going out of town, finding a market that I would be like open to and working in that market and working my way up and then working hard when I was there. And honestly, moving away from California for my first market in Dothan, Alabama was one of the hardest things I had ever done, aside from like moving away from college, because that was the first time that I was like away from my family. But for that career choice specifically, I had just gotten married, and not even 6 months later, I picked up and moved across the country and left my husband here in LA, and I went to go like chase the dream, right? Like become a journalist. And he was 100% supportive of it, always has been. But it's like, that was so hard, not just because it's like I'm away from all of my people. It's expensive to be away from all your people. It's expensive to move cross country. You're not getting paid like that much money as a journalist starting off. So yeah, you're like trying to figure it all out. You're starting from zero all over again. But honestly, being there was the best thing for me because I was away from everybody. And this is probably going to sound really bad, but I was away from all of my friends, all of my family. I was away from the distractions. So I was able to completely throw myself into work. So I didn't mind the fact that like I had to work super late after covering a story, or okay, you want to switch my schedule? Today I'm going to work until 10 p.m. and tomorrow I'm going to start on the morning show and work starting at like 5, or honestly, I was starting at like 2 a.m. and you end your shift at like 9. And it was fine because I didn't have anything else going on, right? Like my community was here in California. So being away from my community made it more feasible for me to be able to do whatever I needed to do with work. And that also helped me become the journalist that I am. And it laid the groundwork for who I am as a journalist, right? And like the expectation of work that I have for myself. So that was really good. And I just threw myself in it. So I guess like be open to working anywhere, because as a journalist, like you live where there is work. You're not necessarily like choosing where you want to live and then finding work. That's not how it works. So just be open to anything and see where life takes you. Aside from working in journalism, I've worked in like TV production and behind the scenes of things and in reality TV. And it's hard. It's hard being a woman in these careers, especially if you want to have a family, because these career paths are so like fast, 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 go, go, go. You're on the go, you're moving, you're traveling a lot, which is like a lot of fun, but it can be really hard when you're trying to balance both family and career. So just kind of figure out what you really want, what's important to you. Maybe it's like being like, nah, I'm going to focus on my career for the first like 10 years outside of college, or for the first 5 years out of college, like I'm doing nothing but focusing on my career. And then after that, like I'll do the family thing or whatever it might be, but have a plan for yourself. And reach out to people that like are doing things that you want to do. You'd be surprised with how many people will be willing to help you or talk to you or give you some sort of advice. So yeah, That's what I would say. Always look for advice. Don't ask for a job. People aren't going to, like, if you don't know them, they're not going to give you a job. Just ask for advice. Ask for them to look over your work and see where you can go from there. Do you plan on having more kids? I do plan on having more kids. When? I don't know, but I would love to have more kids. I want to have, like I said, I want to have like, I don't know, like 3 or 4. 3 or 4 little ones. But honestly, the thing is, I want my girl. So like, I'm going to keep going until I have a girl. And if that means I have 7 little boys running around before I get my little girl at 8, like, cool, let's do it. I'm going to have a whole team. I'm going to be like, what do you want to play? Baseball, football, basketball. You want to do drama? You want to do, yay, you can do whatever you want. We're going to experience it all before I get my little girl. But yeah, I don't know. I'll have all the kids in the world, honestly. I want more kids. Truthfully, I think I want 4 kids, not 7. But like, I think a solid 4. How that's going to work out right now in my 5-seater car, I have no idea, but I want 4 kids. And yeah, I think that's all the questions I have. To everyone listening, I see you, I hear you, I feel you, and thank you for being a part of this podcast with us. Remember to be somebody who makes everybody feel like somebody. And if this episode moved you, inspired you, or made you feel just a little bit more understood, make sure you follow us and connect with us on all social media platforms at IC Connections Pod, and connect with me on socials at Ileana Capion. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are available everywhere you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And thank you to Buzz Studios for letting us use their lovely studios. Until next time, let's keep connecting. So true. I have a cousin that I asked him, I was like, how many kids do you want? He was like, I want like 7, but I'm okay with having like 6 different baby mamas. What, bro? Like, what? He's like, it's okay. Like, I just want kids. He just wants to have kids.